All right, let's get into it. We're going to break down a ghost story that absolutely took the internet by storm, a live stream that captured something, well, something impossible. And this isn't just your typical haunted house story. No, this one gets into the really tricky stuff, like the thin line between what we see and what's real, and it all centers on a social media challenge that went so wrong.
So, where does this all begin? Not in some creepy, abandoned building, but out on a dark, lonely road with a really bad car crash. Now, this single, tragic event is the key to unlocking this entire mystery. The crazy part? The man at the center of it all has no idea it even happened.
Before we can really wrap our heads around the horror of that night, we need to meet the guy who was behind the wheel.
Okay, so meet Swastik. Online, he was known as the Night Hunter. And he wasn't your run-of-the-mill ghost hunter. See, he wasn't looking for ghosts. He was looking to disprove them. The guy had millions of subscribers, and his whole brand was built on going into the spookiest places on Earth. Old forts, abandoned hospitals, you name it, and just rationally explaining away every single bump in the night.
Bhoot kahin nahi hote. This was his catchphrase, his sign-off at the end of every single video. In Hindi, it just means ghosts don't exist. That was his entire philosophy, his core belief. And believe it or not, it's that very idea that gets put to the ultimate test in his last ever live stream.
So what led him to this final fateful broadcast? Well, like a lot of his investigations, it started with a dare from a subscriber. It was a challenge to visit a place with a history so dark, it was basically the perfect stage for his final performance.
And the target this time? An abandoned orphanage way out in the middle of a forest. The whole place had burned to the ground about 15 years ago, and dozens of kids and their elderly caretaker died in the fire. The locals swear you can still hear sounds coming from the ruins. For a professional debunker like Swastik, this was the jackpot, the perfect spot to prove everyone wrong.
His plan for the night was classic Swastik. Super simple. He was just going to set up his gear, go live from inside the orphanage right through the witching hour, and take on the infamous 3:30 a.m. challenge. He was so confident, so sure that his gadgets and his rational mind would show his millions of viewers that it was all just a campfire story.
But as that clock ticked past 3 a.m., his whole debunking mission, well, it started to unravel. And it happened in a way that neither Swastik nor any of his millions of viewers could have ever seen coming.
It all started small. At 2:55 a.m., a single motion sensor beeps. He just shrugs it off, probably a rat. But then, just 5 minutes later, 3 sensors in totally different rooms go off at the exact same time. Then the temperature just tanks. By 3:20, a heavy